Hello, Algebra class. This video is to help you guys prepare for your quiz on factoring polynomials. It only covers targets 6.1 through 6.3, which is factoring by the GCF, grouping, and AC methods. At any time in this video, if I go too fast or you can't understand what I'm saying, please pause the video and catch up, or repeat the video, rewind it just back as far as you need to re-hear the process or make sure that you understand exactly what I'm saying. So I'm only going to run through a few of these problems. I'll run through basically like two of each type. I want to make sure it's under 15 minutes so it goes up on YouTube no problem in one video. But I'll at least cover a couple from each topic. So we did the first three in class today. So I'm going to actually skip down a little bit and not repeat ones that you've seen. So I'm going to start on the fourth problem. So I know I haven't done that except with people individually. Anytime you have three terms, 1, 2, 3 terms, you're always going to try to use the AC method. And then when you do the AC method, move the screen down a little bit before I do anything else. So when you do the AC method, the first thing you always do in every factoring problem is you look for a GCF. So in a problem like 6, which is a GCF problem, you're looking for what number comes out of both of the terms, or all the terms. But in something like number 4, there's nothing. So I can't take a 2 out of 5, and I can't, and the second that's true, I'm kind of done with the numbers, and there isn't an X here, so I can't take out a GCF. So how do we do the AC method? This is probably the trickiest one. It really uses all the different skills from the GCF and grouping. So this term is what I'm considering to be the A term. This term is what I'm considering to be the B term. And this term is what I'm considering to be the C term. So when you do AC method, you multiply A times C, and you get, in our case, negative 24x squared. And now you have to split this up into two numbers that multiply to get you this negative 24. But then that they add or subtract up to our B term, which is our negative 5x. I'm hoping that it appeared on the page. I feel like it's just off. Let's scoop this negative 5x over just a little bit. Okay, so what are the numbers of 24? What are the factors of 24? So obvious ones are 1 and 24. But I can't make 1 plus 24 or 1 minus 24 get you negative 5x. 2 and 12, I still can't get 5x out of that. 3 and 8. Those are the magic numbers. And if you don't know what the factors of 24 are, you take out your calculator and say 24 divided by 2. It will output 12. Say 24 divided by 3. It will output our 8. Say 24 divided by 4. It will output 6. But the second you do that, I'm hoping you realize that 5 doesn't go in, but the second I pass 5, I'm back to 6, and that's to 4, and I'm kind of done with all my factors. So 3 and 8 add up to negative 5 if it's a positive 3x minus 8x. So this equals negative 5x. And be careful about the signs. It's really important that they are correct. Also, positive 3x times negative 8x does equal our negative 24x squared. Now the goal is to not have these couple wrong guesses to begin with. The goal is to have this just be you getting that it's 3x minus 8x. So once we have our two numbers, our positive 3x minus 8x, we are going to replace them with this negative 5x, because that's what it equals. I mean, this is not something like fancy. We're just substituting them in. So we have our 2x squared plus 3x minus 8x minus 12. And again, these do add up to this negative 5x in the middle. If I was to add these like terms, that's what I would get. We don't, however, want to add the like terms. We want to leave them be, because now we're going to group them. So we're going to pick the first pair and the second pair, and we're going to see what we can take out of each. So we take out an x. That's all we can take out of the first one, because there's not a 2 in both of these. And if we do, we get a 2x plus 3. In the second set, we have a little bit more we can take out. We have a 4, but if the first number is negative, we want to take a negative 4 out, and it leaves us with, well, the 4 goes into 8 twice, and we didn't mess with the x. And then 4 goes into 12 3 times, but we're taking a negative 4 out of a negative 12, which leaves us with a positive 3. So from here, we have two like terms. One of them is the 2x plus 3, and we are going to take that 2x plus 3 out. And if we do take that out, we're going to be left with an x and a minus 4. So that's our other factor, x minus 4. Now one of the things you have to be careful about is if you took out a GCF in the beginning, which we didn't because there was no GCF, but let's say there's like a 2 here, then you would have to make sure that you put the 2 in front of your final answer. How do we check this? Well, we check it by doing the distributive property. So 2x times x would be 2x squared. 2x times negative 4 would be negative 8x. 3 times x would be 3x. And then 3 times the negative 4 would be negative 12. And you do have to combine these like terms to get this negative 5x in the middle, but then these two things should match identically. If they don't, then you made a mistake. Alright, so that's what you do when you have 3 terms. You do the AC method. If you have 4 terms, you do grouping, but that's right here to begin with. And if you don't, you're always going to look for the GCF. So let's look at number 5. So 5 has 2 terms, so it's not AC method for sure. And no matter what, we're going to try to take out the GCF. So if there's only 2 terms, it's either GCF or prime. So out of these 2, there's no numbers, so we look at the variables. Both of them have an x, both of them have a y. Now the first one has 2 y's, but the second one doesn't. So in common, the only number they have is in common is 1. So I can take out 1 y out of both, but I can't take 2 y's out of the second one because there are not 2 y's. So what are we left with? That comes out front. You put some parentheses down. If we take xy out of xy squared, that's going to leave me with a y. Plus, don't forget your plus symbol. And then if you take all of this out, it leaves us with 1 because we're dividing. If you don't have the 1 and you try to distribute this back in here, you'll get xy squared. Plus, if you don't have the 1, then you're going to not have the original thing. So it has to match up. So our answer is not that. This is our answer right here. And yes, you do have to put the plus 1. So that's what you do with the GCF. Run it through really fast with 6 as well so that you can see exactly what it looks like. So if we have both of these 2, we can take a 6 out of both. We have 3 a's here and we have 2 a's here, so we can take out a squared. That's common between both of them. If I take out 6 out of 36, that leaves me with 6 because 36 divided by 6 is 6. And that's what you're doing when you're factoring, is you are dividing. If we take the 2 a's out of the 3 a's here, we're left with 1a. Write down our plus symbol, and we took all of 6a out of 6a, so we're left with 1. That's it. That's the GCF problems. Alright, let's try. Actually, I'm going to look at number 7 as well while we're here, because as people were working on this, that was like the one question that everybody tended to ask me on. So in 7, we have 3 terms. So I know when there's 3 terms, we usually think about the AC method, but for you to do AC method, you really need this to be ax squared plus bx plus c. So like some number in front of the x squared, some number in front of x, and some number in front of no variables. There are some variations on that. That's not the only version, but we have no squares at all in this problem. So even though like there might be y's and z's and other AC method problems, like I need this to be x squared, and maybe x to the 4th possibly, but I can't split this up any which way. So no matter what, we look for the GCF. In this case, it's only 2. So if I take out a 2 out of the first one, it leaves me with 9x. If I take a 2 out of the second one, it leaves me with 10y, because I'm dividing by 2. 20 divided by 2 is 10. But I'm not messing with y's. And 10 divided by 2 would be 5. A lot of students had got this, and then they tried to do a times c and gave me 45xz, and I get that, but it doesn't work out. This is your answer. It's a little bit easier than you might have expected. All right, I think we're just going to keep going here for a little bit. 8, you have 3 terms. So anytime you have 3 terms, you do the AC method. So that'd be our AC method. You look for any common factors, but between these 3 numbers, there is nothing. So I can't take that out. So we do a times c, which gives us negative 15p squared. We're looking for 2 factors of that negative 15 that add up to the negative 2 in the middle. So they have to multiply to get you this negative 15 and add up to this negative 2, or subtract. And so what are my factors to 15? So 15 and 1, I can't get 2 out of that. The other one is 3 and 5. Can I get a negative 2 out of that? Well, sure, if it's 3p minus 5p, or negative 5p plus 3p. Doesn't matter which one you use, pick the one that makes more sense to you. So if you like the first one, which is the first one I wrote, so that's what I'm going to use it. So we rewrite the problem, 3p squared, but instead of the minus 2p, I'm going to write positive 3p minus 5p. Now sometimes people want to bring this subtraction symbol down here, but to tell you the truth, don't, because this is together, if I combine like terms, a negative 2p or a minus 2p. This already has a sign built in. We took the sign with us. Minus the 5, and then once we have 4 terms, we're doing grouping. So out of the first pair, we can take out a 3p, and it leaves us with p plus 1. Plus 1 because we're taking all 3p out of 3p. Out of the second pair, we can hopefully obviously take out a 5, but again, the rule was if the first term is negative, you take out the negative. So if you take the negative 5p out of 5p, leaves you with, take the negative 5 out of 5p, leaves you with just the p. Take the negative 5 out of negative 5, it leaves us with 1. So again, one of the factors is going to be the one that's in both of them, which is our p plus 1. And the other factor is going to be what's left over, the 3p minus 5. And I know that's kind of scrunched in there, but that's what we got. Alright, let's just keep going. Number 9, 4 terms. We haven't dealt with one of those yet. Well, we kind of did because we did right here, deal with a 4-term problem. So if you can do the AC method, you really can do all of these things because you're doing grouping in them. So if anything to practice, it should be the AC method problems. So in 4 terms, you look for a GCF in all of them. There isn't, so we're going to do grouping. So in the first group, what do we take out? Well, we can take out a y. They both have y. And that leaves us with x plus 3. Hopefully not too crazy. In the second group, we take out a 5, leaving us with an x plus 3. This 5 goes into 5 once, 5 goes into 15 3 times. So when you factor them out, you're dividing them out. So one factor is going to be the x plus 3, and the other factor is going to be a y plus 5. Check them by distributing, see if you get the same answer. Alright, I'm going to skip 10, but it's a GCF. I'm going to just write down the answer just so you can see it. To get a 5xy leaves you with xy squared plus 4. Make sure you get that before moving on, and I'll do one more AC method. Alright, let's do number 11. And don't forget there's another page this entirely. You can see, get the answer key up on Schoology, but you got to kind of work through them. So, 3 terms. You're going to take out a GCF if you have one. If not, then we jump right into the AC method. So again, you multiply the a times the c, and we get 10v squared in this case. You're looking for factors of that add up to my middle term. This is 11v. So what are those two factors? Well, 5 and 2 doesn't give you 11, but 10 and 1 definitely do. So those are our two factors, or those are two numbers we're going to use. So 2v squared plus 10v plus 1v plus 5. I find for students, like, once they've understood how to figure out those two numbers, usually this problem goes well. So now that we got 4 terms, we group them. In the first group, we can take out a 2 because 2 goes into 2 and 10. And we can take out a v because there's v in both of these things. So 2v comes out, leaving us with 1v because I took the 2 out, and I took one of the v's out, plus, leave the plus symbol there, and then 2 goes into 10 5 times. And then in the other one, there's no number that goes into 1v plus 5. So if there isn't, you take out a 1, and it leaves us with v plus 5. So one of the factors is this common v plus 5. The other ones are the 2v plus 1. Because they are left over. So to see this, like when I take out the v plus 5 here, it's like this is going out front. It's like I'm erasing it. So what's left over? The 2v. And after I'm factoring this one out, it's my, the last little bit of that came too far. As I factor out the other v plus 5, it leaves me with that plus 1. So that's why I have this 2v plus 1, these guys right here. Now, some teachers and students will write this in the other order, where you have a 2v plus 1 out front and the v plus 5 in the end. That is perfectly okay. Check them by distribution. Good luck.